Welcome to Melissa Coppel Chocolate and Pastry School. In today's lesson, we're going to be making some almond and fig rocher. I find one of the most delicious treats to eat and also extremely easy to find. If you've ever visited a really nice chocolate shop in Paris or in Europe, you're going to always see them in there. So I really hope that you enjoy this recipe as much as I do. For this recipe, we're going to need the following ingredients: sea salt, dried figs, caramelized almonds, caramelized almond paste, dark chocolate, and plain cocoa butter. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to simply melt my cocoa butter and my chocolate together in the microwave. Every time that you melt chocolate in the microwave, you have to be extremely careful. If you have very small amount like this one, you have to go little by little, maybe 30 seconds at a time, 45 seconds at a time, and then stir. Take out the bowl from the microwave, stir and bring it back. Don't ever try to go 2 minutes, 3 minutes in one time, because for sure you're gonna start melting the solids inside chocolate. Now I'm gonna add, in this case, actually, it's not important to check the temperature. You can just simply check that the chocolate and the cocoa butter, it's well melted. It's gonna be around 40 degrees. I'm gonna add now sea salt, my chopped dried figs, the caramelized almonds. Remember that the caramelized almond recipe, it's actually a free recipe on our on-demand section. And then the trick to this recipe, which is going to be adding a little bit of almond paste. In this case, it's caramelized homemade almond paste. You can refer to that recipe also as a free recipe in our on-demand section. Think about it, we have the beautiful caramelized almonds inside, but also if the chocolate that it's covering the almonds has a little bit of that almond taste, it's going to really enhance the taste of this recipe. I'm gonna mix everything together. For those of you that are new to what a rocher is, please do not believe that a rocher is just plain chocolate that it's coating nuts. Actually, it's nuts that are coated in a very light chocolate coat. That's why when a rocher, and this is a personal, for me, opinion, is a good rocher, you always have to see through a little bit the chocolate into the nut. If you see like a cluster that looks just, you only see the chocolate and you don't even know what's inside, for me that's not a good ratio between chocolate and nut, or between chocolate, cocoa butter, and nut. You need to have a more translucent, if you wish, coat. So the highlight of a rocher will always be the filling. In this case, caramelized almonds and figs, but of course you can use any combination of nuts and fruits that you want. You can even use freeze-dried fruit. So I've done things with maybe pistachios and freeze-dried raspberries, or pistachios and freeze-dried lychees. You can also do puff rice, which is actually very nice. Raisins are great. And you can actually play with different nuts that are more common in America, which are pecans or walnuts. So it's really a matter of your personal taste, what's available in your country, in your city, what's available in the season. So now that I have everything very well mixed, I'm gonna make sure that my mix is between 30 to 34 degrees. It's actually 29, so I'm gonna ask Kyoko to place it for 5 seconds in the microwave. And we're gonna precrystallize the filling using the cold surface method. So this is out of the precrystallization methods. We have a variety of, I always call them routes to get to the same destination. And the same destination is to have those stable crystals we need, which are the form 5 or beta 5. If precrystallization is a topic that you are not quite sure, you don't understand, please refer to the precrystallization class that we are now offering. I do believe that every single person should watch that class. It's if you especially work with only chocolate, there's a lot of myths and misinformation, miscommunication, misunderstanding around the topic of precrystallization. So we're going to use one of the most common methods, which is the cold surface one. We need to create those stable crystals that when we melt, the chocolate disappeared. Of course, you can also precrystallize this, only the fat base, and then incorporate the almonds. That's another way. If I had a larger recipe, I would do just the fat base together, meaning cocoa butter, chocolate, and even the almond paste together, and then I would fold in the almonds. I just feel like this recipe is so small. So we're just gonna simply agitate this mix. Make sure that your table is cold enough. And we need to drop this to 24. Why 24? Because we added the almond paste into the recipe. If, for example, you say, you know what, I don't want to add almond, I just want to do chocolate and cocoa butter, you just need to work with the working temperature of your chocolate. In this case, because it's dark chocolate, you need to go to like 30, between 30 to 31. I'm talking about the final temperature. When you actually precrystallize any chocolate, you go to around 29, and then you bring it back up. In this case, working temperature for dark would be 30 to 31. So because, in a way, this became a little bit of like a douja, right? We have chocolate combined with a nut paste in this recipe, and that's what makes this recipe very special. I really recommend you to try it like this with the caramelized almond paste as part of the recipe. So we check the temperature. I am at 29. I'm going to actually spread it a little bit. Get a little splash here. Once again, if you have a larger recipe, I recommend you to fold in the almonds after. But this is such a tiny recipe that I felt it was okay just to add the almonds at the beginning. It's always helpful to move away from the same spot because the table is going to be a little bit colder. I'm almost there. I think it's going to be maybe one last turn here. Once again, this is very versatile, and not only versatile and delicious, but also the shelf life is great. You're not adding any ingredients that have any water inside. A little bit of moisture, but no water. So you can pack these ones, and as long as they don't have, like you can vacuum seal them and pack as you need maybe in your shop, so you don't have light getting into them and you don't have air. They're gonna taste fresh, maintain the crunch. You're not gonna have any problems with shelf life. So it's really a beautiful product to sell in a shop. I'm gonna actually move a little bit from that area. Feel my table was not as cold as I wanted to, so that's why it's taking a tiny bit longer than I wanted to. This is good actually now. So I'm gonna ask Kyoko to hold the bowl for me. Just here. And what we're gonna do is, if you have a small recipe like this one, you have to be careful with the temperature because of course cocoa butter and chocolate, the fat phase is gonna start crystallizing on you. So you have to maintain it at around 24, 25 degrees Celsius. You can use a heat gun to maintain the temperature. You can also place everything into a chocolate warmer and work. If you have bigger batches, I would recommend you to do that, to have a little bit warmer and maintain the whole filling, the whole rocher filling inside that warmer. and you can work for hours. Remember that the stable crystals multiply over time, so you need to continually heat the mix a little bit higher every time. And I'm talking about very small increments, right? It's not even a degree at a time. But it is okay to have it at a certain point. This can be at 26, 27, up to 28. Once you reach 28, I will recommend you to try to not go above. And the reason why, and always remember this, is because there's almond paste inside. So we're gonna actually work old style in this recipe, which is with the use of some spoons. It is important that you pick small spoons, because if you pick large ones, most likely you're going to make rochers that are a little bit too big. And they should be like a bite size for me. This is, again, personal opinion. If you live in a place that it's humid, maybe a little bit hot, maybe where you live there's not too much air conditioning, I would actually not add the almond paste into my base, because what happens is that the filling or the chocolate coat becomes a little bit more sensitive to heat because of the oil inside the almond paste. So for example, in the US it's fine, everybody has air conditioning, everybody drives in cars with air conditioning, everybody has air conditioning in their homes. But if I were to make the streets, for example, in my hometown in Colombia, most likely I would not add the almond paste. Over there, it's a little humid, it's hot. A lot of people don't have air conditioning in their homes. For me, in that scenario, I'll prefer to just make them with chocolate. They'll still be delicious. Nowadays, you can find they're called chablons. And it's like a very easy way to make a lot of rochers at the same time. So it's, I don't have it actually, and the reason why I haven't bought it is because a lot of times you have a school, and if every single recipe you make requires a unique piece of equipment, it starts becoming difficult for people that don't have access to all those things. So that's why I like to show, in the old style method. Of course, I like to explain that there are easier ways to make this. Those chablons actually work quite nice. That one actually I'm actually gonna crack it outside. It has a piece of almond that was too big. I don't like when they are too big. So once you are done organizing these little rochers in here, these little mountains, you take them to a cold room for a few hours and they are ready to be packed. When I say cold room should be at around 16 degrees Celsius. I'll do like 3 or 4 more and that's it. I was always impressed when I co-owned a wholesale chocolate company in town for a few years. And this was one of the products we used to make. We did it with different flavors, but I mean, it was like chocolate puff rice like cereal, puffed rice cereal. Almonds were not caramelized, and it had raisins, I think, or something. It was just a different product, but the same rocher idea. And I remember, like, every time I would make them, I would be so surprised how good and addictive they were and so easy to make. I think I'll just finish the tray. I'm almost done. So you can see, because also you have another thing that I didn't mention is because you have the oil of the almond paste inside, it gives you actually a longer, there's another advantage besides taste, and is that you have a longer time to work, because what the oil is doing to the recipes, inhibiting the crystallization of cocoa butter in a way, retarding it. So it's going to take a little bit longer for the cocoa butter to start to crystallize in a recipe that has that nut paste inside. So it actually is also helpful because of that. So all I'm gonna do now is take it to the cold room, and in a few minutes, I would say 30 minutes or so, or if you're in a rush, like 30 minutes, but otherwise, you can wait up to 24 hours and then pack. So now that our rochers have been in the cold room for an hour or so, we simply place them here in this beautiful tray. I also pack them in a little container so you can see, just giving you options. You could also sell them in little tubes. It really depends what kind of shop you have. You can sell them by the piece, you can sell them by the weight, you can sell them in little containers with a beautiful label. So there's really many options. I do recommend you to show, having containers that you don't see what's inside might not be so attractive. I think that if it's a transparent bag, a transparent container, we can see. And I am pretty sure that in camera you can tell what I explained at the very beginning. For me, a good rocher is where what's the chocolate base or fat face is just covering and binding everything together, but it's translucent enough that you can see through. So the highlight of this product is the caramelized nuts and the figs. Of course, you can, as I said before, you can change to any nut, any dried fruit, any freeze-dried fruit in that matter. But it is very important that it's not just simply dark or milk or white chocolate with I would say toasted nuts inside, and that you cannot see through. This is one of the keys for this product to be at a different level. So I really hope that you enjoyed this recipe. I really hope that you enjoy being part of our school. As you can tell, we have incredible recipes, very, I would say, humble, down-to-earth comments and explanations, and we cannot wait to welcome you to another class. So thank you from the entire team at here, the Melissa Coppel Chocolate and Pastry School.